There it goes. Be sure that you keep a well-organized calendar. When you keep a well-organized calendar, there are times that Kentucky PTA, National PTA come up with dates. National PTA will send out a list of their dates and their times when they plan on doing, like Kentucky Kids Day, Red Ribbon Week, and that will be coming down from National PTA. Kentucky will send out when they do their Advocacy Day at the Capitol. Then they do their Kentucky Advocacy Day training at their office, and then any events that you all hold at your school. So you want to keep a well-organized calendar so you don't miss any dates or any events. Meet regularly with your principal. So try to do a meeting once a month or every other month to make sure that you guys are talking regularly, to make sure that you guys are keeping track of what's going on in the school, make sure she doesn't have any concerns or anything to talk about on what's happening on if the PTA or PTSA is doing anything that she is not or he is not okay with. You want to meet and talk about events or activities you guys can do together. Maybe there's something you guys can piggyback off with the YSC. So you all want to make sure that you meet regularly and talk about events and activities you guys can do together. Have an agenda and stick to it. No monthly board meeting should last longer than 30 minutes. And that meaning if your board meeting itself meets monthly and you're just talking about the same stuff. So if you meet every 2 months, maybe it's 45 minutes. If you all meet every 3 months, it could be an hour. But if you're meeting monthly, and unless you're adding in motions or if you're adding in resignations and things like that, the board meeting shouldn't take longer than 30 minutes. Your general membership, now that will of course take longer than 30 minutes, but just your average board meeting to discuss the same topics you discuss every week, to just go over your monthly budget. If there hasn't been any drastic changes or anything like that, your normal board meeting should not take longer than 30 minutes. No one wants to sit in a monthly board meeting longer than 30 minutes. So it should not take longer than 30 minutes. If it does, then we need to figure out how we need to cut that down. Mostly it's just a lot of outside talking or just chit chatting, and you just want to, you can still do that. Let's not say you can't do that, but make sure when you're doing the board meeting and you're starting on time, you want to get to the points of that board meeting, then adjourn, and then go back to just having those random conversations that you may go squirrel off on when you're having those fun conversations, and then come back to the point and be like, we should have just not done that. Because then that makes the meeting go super long and you don't want to do that. Continuously ask for volunteers, because that's where we have the problem of PTA turns into a clique and people just think, well, I can't join that PTA because they don't want me there, or they don't want new board members because they only want them there, or they don't ask for new board members because they're comfortable with themselves and they don't want a new group in. So continuously ask for new volunteers. Even if it's not an election year, you can still have volunteers to come and help you do t-shirt sales or help you do concessions. And getting them to come volunteer will then reach out to you when it is an election year and they say, I enjoy doing this, and now I want to be a board member next year. So this will also reach out. I'm sorry, my dogs are going to bark. My husband came home. So this will have them reach out and say, next year I want to be a member, or next year I want to apply.
Question, Bobby Joe.
Yes.
The question is about the time for board meetings, and it's what should be discussed in that 30 minutes. Says we follow a strict agenda, but our meeting is at a minimum an hour.
It depends on. So if you're having a meeting, say your normal board meeting consists of events. Okay, my board meeting, my local unit, our board meeting consists of, we invite our board meeting, our local board. It includes our Friskies, our presidents, and then our board members. So at that meeting, we talk about the events that are happening that month at our school. It then consists of our budget, what happened the last month, our current budget. It then opens the floor up for new business, old business. And then after that, each person gets an open floor. So the principal gets an open floor, both Friskies, because I have 2 schools. So I have Frost Middle and Stewart Middle. So each Friskie will get an open floor. They each get an opportunity to talk about what's happening at their schools. And then we close the floor out. And then, of course, if we have to have any voting on such things, we vote. But we just go straight into the budget, like last month's budget, this month's budget, old business, new business. Then I'll let everybody talk, and then we adjourn. That's kind of how we do it. Now, if you have a school that has a large capacity of events, it may run over. But if it's just your normal, I'm trying to think, if someone has an idea to throw at me on what they're, maybe the one with an hour long, do you all do a lot of events in that board meeting that you all may have to talk about that keeps it to run an hour long? That's a possibility. It could run over, and it's okay if it runs over. The reason why I say it should last 30 minutes is some parents don't want to sit in a board meeting that lasts an hour. And it tends for them to say, I don't want to be on a board and spend an hour of my time at this board meeting, because it takes an hour out of the time when I could be at home cooking dinner, spending time with my children, when this board meeting should only last 30 minutes. There are ways to cut it down to 30 minutes, depending on what it is you need to cut. It really should just be about the important important items of that meeting. If it's not pertaining to the month that is happening in that meeting, you shouldn't talk about it until the month that it needs to be discussed. So like if you're talking about something that needs to happen in December and the month of September, you really wouldn't need to talk about it. Does that make sense?
It does. This is Shannon. I had put that in the chat. I mean, and I think our average is at minimum an hour, and I am very strict on agenda. Like there's no side talking or anything else, but we do always start with the admin, and we start with a review of the calendar coming up. I know that with a lot of the things with NTI that are going on right now, we're actually going a little. Our last meeting was an hour and a half, and we could have easily gone longer, but that's because we were figuring out what we were going to do in the next 6 weeks while we're all at home, and how do we work with room parents, and are there things that are happening. So we've got a very active PTA, and when we recruit our parents and our volunteers, we tell them that at minimum it's an hour a month, right? So that is kind of clarified at the very beginning, that there are going to be some months where it may be less than an hour, but typically at least through the first half of the year, before we get into testing and things like that, we're looking at an hour a month of a board meeting, and then sometimes it's more depending on the events. So that's the way we recruit people, to just be upfront, to let them know that there are a lot of things that are happening in the PTA that we have to cover in a very short amount of time, and also get the admins say.
And that is okay if you're up front and you let them know ahead of time that, hey, it may be that your board meetings may run a little bit longer, and they're okay with that. That is perfectly okay. It's typically most board meetings don't run that long. But if your board meetings have to run that long and you have a structure that you run them on, that is completely up to your board and your board meeting. But a majority meetings don't last longer than 30 minutes. But you guys decide how you want to run them. Does that make sense? Do you all want to if you all make a choice decision, and do you all have those in your standing rules? Do you all have standing rules? Is it in your standing rules too that you all put a minimum of an hour in your?
Yes, I mean, that's right. It is. And,
Okay.
you know, and that's also said up front at the very beginning. Our goal is an hour,
Okay.
you know, but unless we have something that's urgent that we have to talk about,
Okay.
we pass out the minutes beforehand to approve so that everybody's read them before we come in, so we don't have to spend, you know, an hour reading those. But we are, you know, like I said, very, we go from one thing to another, but there's a lot going on. So 30 minutes, and you said that, I was like, oh, that's that's going to be tough. So, okay, thank you.
And there,
Said the
I mean,
same
like I said, there are a few schools that do have a structure and they stick to that structure, but majority try to keep them in a 30-minute window. And like I said, there are some that do go over that hour, and if it, or over that 30 minutes. And if it is, it's okay. If you give them a notice and they're okay and they join the board and they're okay with that, again, that is okay. But typically you try to want to have an agenda. And like I said, you stick to it. You stick to your agenda. That is how they want, your board is okay with how it stick to that agenda. As long as your president and your term is, and they're okay with that, maybe the next president that comes in, maybe they change that. You know, it's okay. Every president does it a different way. So on your, this is how you want to run it, it is okay. This is your term. You know what I mean? This is how you want to run it. This is the joy of being a president. So you kind of get to run it how you feel you want to run it, but in a guideline. You have a perimeter, and you have to stay within a perimeter, but you get to kind of have a free reign of that perimeter as long as you stay within your guidelines and your bylaws. So if it was in your bylaws and your standing rules, and in your standing rules say that you can do this, then you're okay. That's why I mentioned, is it in your standing rules? If it's in your standing rules, then you are good. So you have no problem. So you can have 2-hour meetings if you want. Parents may not, you know, you may have a hard time finding volunteers, but like you said, you tell them up front and they are okay with it, and you still get parents to come, and it's working great for you guys. So, I mean, I would love to sit in on one of yours one day. I would like to see that. I may have to come
a
just
couple
watch.
more.
I mean, I would love to sit and watch. I'm one who would like to come to as many PTA meetings as possible just to see how they're ran, because everybody runs them different. And I want to sit in everyone's meeting just one time to see the difference on how everybody runs them, because they're all ran different. And to get the views on how each person runs a meeting is amazing, because each president runs a meeting a different way. And how Karen may run hers is going to be different, how Sharon runs hers, and how Amanda runs hers, and how I run mine. And I only said you guys because I see your all's faces on the screen. But everybody's going to run them differently, and it's a learning experience to see how everyone runs a meeting differently. And that's the joy of PTA, because we all learn from each other. And the ideas that everybody puts in chat boxes, or at the end when we do the questions at the end, and we get to talk to each other at the end, we're all going to give each other ideas on things that we may not know, or things that we may not have learned or have thought of, that we get to share with each other. And that's the point of doing these trainings. That's the point of us coming together and doing these trainings, is for us to learn new ideas to get out to our PTAs, so our PTAs could strive more. So that is the main purpose of all of these trainings. Ask your members to keep you informed of ask your board members to keep you informed of their activities. So say Amanda is my reflections chair, and Amanda is setting up all these events to get students to do reflections. I would want her to inform me of any events that she's going to set up. So at a basketball game, say Amanda is going to set up a table to get students to register for the reflections event. I would want her to let me know, so that way I can inform the principal that that's going to happen, or the athletic director that that's going to happen. So make sure that if any of your board members, or if you're, you know, I know Manuel has a humongous board. If any of their staff or any of their board members are doing something, make sure the president is aware, so that way if something comes back and says, hey, why did this happen? The president's not caught off guard. The president is aware that it happened. You want to welcome, nurture, and encourage potential leaders. And remember, someone has to take over when you leave. So you don't plan on being here forever. Hey, maybe you do. I mean, I plan on sticking around for a while, but when we do leave, someone has to take over. So we want to encourage them to be great leaders like we are. Keep a sense of humor. Don't sweat the small stuff and have fun. Because remember, we're with kids all day, and we want them to smile just as much as we want to smile. Establish a budget. Remember, the budget must be approved by the general membership. And that is either your 10 membership or your 10 minimum, your 25 minimum, and it's whatever is written in your bylaws. Most of you, if you all haven't renewed them, they are due to be renewed or will soon be within the next 5 years. So make sure, if you don't know when your renewal date is, reach out to your VP. We will get you those answers. If you don't have a copy of your bylaws, reach out to your VP. We will get you a copy. Anything you need on your bylaws, we will get those for you. If you are due for renewal, we will work with you. They were extended to December 31st of 2020. So we have time to get you renewed. So don't sweat that right now. We will work on that with you guys. But remember that all budgets have to be approved by your general membership. Presidents must schedule board trainings for the VPs. Said that backwards. Schedule board trainings by contacting your VPs, as we did like today. So any board trainings that are coming up, contact us, or you can look on the 15th district website. We always constantly post those there. One of us could schedule the trainings for you, or we usually send you now by Member Hub, or I tend to send it via Member Hub and email you personally, just because sometimes Member Hub doesn't always have the right email addresses sometimes. So, or it's not getting caught, it's going to spam sometimes, which I don't know why. So I just try to email you guys twice. So you may get annoyed with me, but I at least do it to make sure that you guys are getting them. So if you ever want training done, or if you want a specific training, or if you feel like you need extra training, reach out to us. Be sure that you and each of your officers have a copy of your bylaws in their binders. So you want to create a binder for each of your officers. Make sure they have a copy of their bylaws and that they have read them carefully, because your PTA and your PTSA must operate underneath those rules. And if you have standing rules, you want to make sure they have a copy of those as well. And you want to attend any district and Kentucky PTA meetings and events if you can. Those include like leadership conferences, the Kentucky PTA conference in July, the Children Advocacy Day at the Capitol, the Kentucky PTA training in November, which will probably be virtual this year. And take advantage of the online trainings that are available on the National PTA website, and it's listed below at www.pta.org/elearning. All of those are free, and at the end you get a certificate. Each one that you complete, Kentucky PTA will publish you in their newsletter stating that you have completed your e-learning classes. I want to say there's about 100 of them, and you'll get a certificate for each one that you complete. Also be open-minded and listen, especially now. This is stressful. We are all learning to be virtual. A lot of this is new to all of us, especially trying to get membership when we are not face-to-face with our parents, trying to connect them with Member Hub and trying to reach our parents. This is a very stressful moment until we go back to school. So just be mindful and listen. No idea is a silly idea. I've always believed in that, because I always have silly ideas, and I sometimes think they're silly, but people tell me they're not. Keep a president's binder from start to finish and pass it on to your successor, because again, you don't plan on sitting here forever in this position. I would hope that eventually all of you would plan on attending or moving on to 15th district at some point. And I say that because I love all of you guys, and I would love to see you all move on to 15th district and strive and continue on up the ladder, because that's what my goal was, is to start off at a local unit and continue on. So the goal is to keep us moving and advocating for our babies. And a big thing that I always remind everybody, that no JCPS employee can be a check signer. If there is a JCPS check signer on your checking account, that is a big red flag. We need to talk. They cannot count money. They can witness you count money, but they cannot touch money. It is a red book violation. It's a JCPS issue. It's not like it's not a PTA. It's not a policy PTA had. It is a red book issue with JCPS. It is a big no-no that we have to follow. So that is down here, and I believe I've continued it over here, making sure that we put this here as much as possible. And I will always say that a JCPS employee may witness you, going 10, 20, 30 and counting it out. They can then sign a deposit or a cash witness form that they have witnessed you sign, or witnessed you count out the money. They can sign off on that, but they cannot physically touch. They cannot be a check signer on anything. Again, and that is their red book policy. That is what their bookkeeper will tell you at any of your schools. If a bookkeeper at your school catches you, she will come to you with the red book policy with JCPS and say, look, this is a no-no. I've seen it happen at a couple schools. So I make sure that that is in there. I want you guys to be able to see that and know that that is a big red no-no. One that I did not put on here that I will mention: no PTAs can have credit cards. No PTA can use credit cards. No, no, no. You cannot have credit cards. Checks only. And I know that will go into the treasurer's class more, but that has been an issue. It's been done before. So there should be no credit card usage in any PTAs. So if that's going on, please let us know, and we'll figure out a way to take care of that for you guys and get that switched out, because we don't want any of you guys having any bad standings or any violations going on. We want to make sure that we stop all that for you guys, because credit cards are a big no-no, and that's a national thing. It's not, or it's a Kentucky PTA thing. We're not allowed to use credit cards. Each PTA and PTSA should have standing rules. If you don't, I would make a set for your board, because standing rules is kind of like your binding. For instance, with the hour-long meeting, that was her, that's kind of like their thing. And that kind of binds them, saying, when she told her board, hey, look, we do hour-long meetings. This is how we do this kind of before you join our board. We're telling you kind of this is what we do. Just a heads up, you have to be okay with this. Kind of binds that for the member who's joining, so that way they can't come up and say, well, you didn't tell me that I had to do this. So the standing rules kind of forms a set of rules that they have to follow. It's separate from the bylaws, so you want to make sure that if you don't have standing rules, you create some. That does not have to go to your general membership. That just has to be approved by your board. Just your board yourself has to approve those. And you all just agree to those. You all can tweak them back and forth until you all approve those as a board. But other than that, lastly, have fun. That's what PTA is about. Yes, there's rules. Yes, you have to follow them. Yes, we all have to follow 15th district, and we all have to follow Kentucky PTA rules. But again, we are here for the babies. 15th district, I know they say it all the time, we are not here to be police. Kentucky PTA will say the same thing. We are not here to police anybody. We are here to have fun. We are here to advocate, and we are here for our babies. But we do have to enforce certain rules that have to be followed. So As long as we are watching the main rules, it's about having fun and taking care of our babies. So lastly, our funny little slide here. Oh, that's not the funny slide. This is our contact. I was ready for the funny slide. Here is your contact information. I'll leave this up for a few minutes if anybody wants to copy down the information from their VP. So you've got Carla is your VP1 and their member district. Rhea is your VP2 and the districts that she covers. I'm your VP3 and who I cover. Amanda is your VP4 and her information there. And Tara is your VP5. So I will leave that up in case you guys need a few minutes to write that down. And then I'll show you the funny slide. And here's our funny slide. So, does anybody have questions?
Yes.
I'm going to move so I can see everybody's happy faces. So I will
You
stop
ready?
sharing.
There are
Yay!
several.
Okay.
First, should that 30-minute time frame goal for board meetings include committee reports?
No. Committee reports should be, I would do a 45-minute for committee reports.
Okay,
I would add an extra 15 minutes. Now, it depends on how big your committee is.
Okay.
I mean, if you have a pretty big committee, I mean, I would up it a little bit each time. If you have a small committee, go 45 minutes. If you have a pretty large committee, I'd go up to an hour.
The next one, what are some things that need to be in the president's binder? How are your binders laid out?
I will show you my president's binder if y'all do not laugh.
I'm already laughing.
Now, I've been a president at Frost & Stewart for 4 years now, so, you know, I've been there a while. So in there is, I have, of course, I'll just read you my tabs. So I have the welcome letter from Kentucky PTA, of course. Then I have the IRS letter that tells me my EIN number. I have a tab for trainings. I do a tab for bylaws. I have one for membership. Then I have one for minutes. Then I keep one for Staff Appreciation Week. I keep a tab for fundraisers because, you know, when you go to conventions, you get all those fundraisers that people want to give you, or when 15 District does the vendor fair and you walk around, you get all those neat things from the vendors. I keep all of those in case I decide that I want to use them one year, or the next person coming in after me may want to use them. So I shove all those in a binder for them. I keep one for vendors, any motions that any of our PTA does. I keep all the motions. I do one for Christmas, like we do a jingle shop. So I have a jingle shop one for that. I keep one for volunteers, for people who wanted to volunteer on the board. I have one for my standing rules. I have one for emails that are like really important emails from parents or something that are sent in. If I sell spiritware, I keep my spiritware email, financial reports, bank statement, SBDM, newsletters, and flyers. And that's about it. The rest is kind of like social media stuff, and that's kind of what I stick in mine. I haven't put this year's stuff in there just because it's all sticking over here in I haven't gone to school yet, so I've just kind of shoved it over here in my cabinet. Not done very well this year, but I keep it, every year I just put the most recent on top. So I just keep stacking it, and I probably should put tabs to divide it. But if I did that, then I'd be looking at probably 100 tabs, and that wouldn't work really well for me. So I just put the most recent on top. And that's kind of how I keep my binder. But everybody can do theirs kind of differently. That works for me. And I figured if I pass it on, the person who comes in after me, because this is my last year at Frost and Stewart, I hate to say that. I love them to death. I really do. But my daughter's moved on to Fairdale, and I plan on either trying to help them, but I'm also doing this VP. So I love all of you guys. So I don't plan on just sticking to one school. I plan on helping everybody. So I don't just want to stick to one school. So I plan on letting the person who comes into Frost and Stewart decide what they want to do with that binder. If they want to keep all of that in there, they can remove what they don't want or keep what they want. But that's 4 years worth of, or 3 years worth of stuff I've built up.
Okay, the next thing was about writing checks to teachers, and can they do that? It says, I don't think we can, but we're having trouble with our teacher grants that we provide to teachers.
So I will tell you this, Kentucky PTA is still working on that. We have not stopped fighting that. We are not going to stop fighting that. So
Great.
Right now, KDE has put us on hold because of the whole out of school stuff going on and the NTI and them deciding on when we're going to go back. Once they get this stuff worked out, we are going right back to fight it. We are not going to give up on fighting for us writing checks back to our teachers. We are not going to give up on fighting that. And that's me talking from the state level that I know that, because I'm on state board. We are not going to stop fighting that because we want to continue to pay back our teachers. But until we get the okay from KDE, we can't write them right now. So, there are gray areas around that. Those gray areas are
we have designated, and let me know if this is a gray area. We ask them for a designated representative for them. So it could be a spouse, it could be somebody,
there you go.
But when we're providing a grant, we already have a full application, exactly what the cost is, what, that kind of thing. So it is very, very documented. And then we have a space where they designate who that would be for right now.
Kind of like if a teacher is going to pay for something, use the spouse's credit card. Does that make sense?
Yep, sure does. Thank you.
Because
I just want to make sure
the husband pays for it, he's not the teacher, but you're reimbursing the husband because he bought it. That's a gray area. Because the husband is not the teacher, but he needs to be reimbursed, and he's not the employee of JCPS. Now, if it comes down to it that the husband and the wife are, then grandpa needs to pay for it, and you're paying grandpa back. Those are your gray areas you need to look for, if that makes sense. Because you can't pay directly to the teacher, so you need to look outside the teacher. The husband needs to pay for it, and then you need to write the check to the husband. Or mom and dad needs to pay for it, and you need to pay mom and dad back. You can't pay the teacher directly because we're not allowed to pay the teacher. That's the gray area.
Okay, the next question is, can we use Square to collect at events?
We can use Square if you're using, so I have this one that Square offers, and it's a chip reader. You can buy them at Walmart now. And I have the other little Square. These you can use, and it goes straight into the checking account that your PTA has. Those are okay. But what they're trying to do, and this will be a thing, so I'm just going to let everybody know eventually, it will phase out and we will have to use Member Hub at some point in time. At some point in time, later down the line, I don't know if it's going to be a year or 2 years, eventually Member Hub will be the all go-to pay for things. Right now, we can still use Square. I don't think they really want us using PayPal because you can use Square. But at some point in time, because Member Hub can do so much, Member Hub will come out with one of these at some point in time. They're going to come out with one of these, and we'll all be able to get this. And we'll all be able to use this. And then we won't be able to use Square once they come out with that. Now, I don't know if it'll have a fee or not. I haven't heard any of that yet. That's later on down the line. But at some point in time, Member Hub will make it to where we have an option of that. And then we won't be able to use Square. But I don't see it being in the next year or so. So in the meantime, Square is okay to use. You can still use Amazon and link your checking account to Amazon and purchase things. That is still okay to do. I think that's the only other one. PayPal is like they don't really like PayPal.
That was the last question I had, but I think Sabrina has a question to ask.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm yelling at my kids, so sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
So my question was, I had our school counselor reached out to me yesterday, and she is wanting to do, like, since we didn't get to do teacher appreciation, obviously because we weren't there, she wants to do like something for the teachers during NTI. As far as what she wants to do, she's thrown a couple different things at me, but I don't know. Like, she wants me to like order them lunch and send it to their house, wherever they may be, or if they're at school. Anyway. And then another thing is she was like, stop, please. Stop. And then she mentioned getting them like a care package and delivering it to their house. So I just don't know what my options would be for that. Like, what can I tell her we can do when I know what we can't do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you could do a lunch delivery to their house. I mean, first off, here's what I would do.
Okay.
If you were going to do lunch, they would have to go to the school, because you would have to find someone who's going to deliver to however many different teachers you have.
Right.
And that's a lot of delivery fees. And that's a lot of gas that your school would be paying, or your PTA would pay for. So if you were going to do a lunch, they would need to pick it up at the school. And I'm going to tell you right now, most of your teachers probably would not go there for that.
Right, because none of them live near it. Yeah.
Right.
I get it.
Then you could do a care package, but your thing is, what are they needing? Are they needing school supplies?
I don't think it's school supplies. I think she's thinking like, what did she email me? She emailed me somewhere was having some goofy sale, and she was going to get a whole bunch of the stuff, and she wanted me to reimburse her. Well, first I told her no, I wasn't doing that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I could see what she was saying. Like, I don't know if it's like hand sanitizers and soaps and, you know, crap like that. So basically,
So it's more like a Bath and Body's work kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like a, you know, a self-care package, if you will.
Got you. I mean, if you wanted to do something for the teachers, you could do a yard sign that said something like, "We appreciate you." I've got a few yard sign people that you could reach out to, and she can make some really neat NTI reference about how cool they are during NTI, and your PTA could then ride to the teachers' houses and put them out in the middle of the night, and hopefully you don't get shot type thing. No, I'm just being funny. But, you know, like, send them out, you know, deliver them to their houses and let them wake up and it be special. But something like that, or I don't see the self-care thing as a need because it doesn't benefit the kids. Again, you're supposed to benefit the kids.
Right.
You could do a NTI yard sale, like a yard sign that shows them how special they are during NTI because they're doing it for the kids. Yes, they're teaching our kids, but the lunch thing would benefit, but they would have to come to the school, because to pay a DoorDash person to deliver all that food would be crazy, and for you all to deliver I mean, you all could buy it and deliver it, but again, I don't know how many teachers you have.
Yeah, we have some that are in Indiana, some that are in
Oh,
different.
wow.
I ain't doing all that.
Yeah.
Right.
That ain't happening.
I mean,
Okay.
the only other thing would be you all can make, I'm big on making craft like cards, like thank you cards, but being crafty with it and mailing it to them. You can't purchase gift cards, so that's out of the question. But you may be able to see if Mark's Feed Store would donate a free meal. If you call them, they're very good with donating free
Right.
$10 gift card meals.
Yeah.
They'll donate
What
gift
about
certificates.
what about them making wish lists on that Teachers Pay Teachers website?
They can go to Amazon and make a wish list.
And then we can just trust that they're going to use it for school only.
Yes, you all can do that.
Okay.
They can make an Amazon wish list, and you guys can purchase the items off of Amazon as a PTA. But what you would want to do, if you want to have a board meeting and you all want to vote on it, and you want to put it in your minutes stating that this is what you all are going to do as a teacher incentive for it during NTI, and make sure it's noted that it was because you all didn't do it during teacher appreciation last year,
Right.
because you're using part of your teacher appreciation budget for this year. Does that make sense? Because you're going to use part of your budget that will take, they need to know that if you use it now, you're using part of the budget that would then take away for what they're going to get this year.
Right.
Because you budget for teacher appreciation. So if you use it, they're not going to get much for teacher appreciation in the spring this year, because they're taking from it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So they need to make sure that they're aware that if they want something, this is less they're going to get in the spring.
Yeah. So then, like, the money that we had in our budget last year for it kind of just stays there. Like, it doesn't.
Right.
Okay. So if they want to make it more when we have our general meeting and we get, like, our budget, all that junk, like, if we move money around and they okay it, then we're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The next question is about amounts spent, and it says we would have to spend an equal amount on each teacher, right?
You would need to. So like you would want to say that each teacher would get $15 or $10 or $20. You would need to try to budget each teacher to get the same item, same amount. I know that's hard to do when you have so many teachers. It's really hard to do. So you would have to say each teacher is going to get $25. It's easier when you have food and you're in school, and it's easier to say, here's a buffet line and go through the line. It's making it really hard through NTI. And when teachers are wanting something when we're not in school, and principals are wanting something when we're not in school, it makes it really hard, because then the amount is limited because we don't have funds, because we're not in school to make funds. Now, everybody is aware you guys can use Altitude, correct? As an after-school activity. Altitude Trampoline Park is not a JCPS event. It is a standalone. Altitude is a standalone trampoline park that does not have anything to do with JCPS. So you can call there, schedule an event. They do them every night, Monday through Thursday, for 2 hours. It's $15. It includes your socks. You get $5 per person that shows up and mentions your school. So you can book them every month. Every month you can do one. And for every person that shows, you'll get a check for that month that shows. They just go in and say they can mention, I don't know, Okolona Elementary. I'm just throwing school out there. They can go in and say, I'm with Okolona, and every person that signs up underneath that school will get a check at the end of the night. And you guys will make money that way while we are not in school. So this is a way to make money, because you're not transporting students from JCPS to there. It is not a JCPS insurance situation. There's nothing to do with JCPS at all. Parents have to take their kids theirself. So there's no connection with JCPS at all. So you guys can schedule
Skating
those.
parties.
You guys can do that too. But remember, with skating, there is an insurance liability on you guys. So you all would have to make sure your insurance is paid, which you guys can go ahead and do. If your all's checking accounts and stuff are set up, you all are good to write your checks to Kentucky, or not to Kentucky PTA, to AIM Insurance. That email went out. You all are ready to pay your insurance. She's not going to have you all wait and approve budget. She said, go ahead and pay your insurance. So you guys can do that. If you have a skate party, you all have to, if there's any accidents, unless it's a skate at your own risk type of thing, that would be a fallback on your all's insurance.
And there is no insurance on trampoline parks?
No, they sign a waiver. Altitude signs a
Okay.
waiver. The parents have to go in and sign a personal waiver that they can't sue. So it's a standalone. I mean, I can't say that no parent would walk in and sue. I mean, they still go in and sue, but they usually sue the trampoline park. They don't usually sue the person holding the event, because not only are we usually there, there's 4 other, like I've been there on a night that I've been there. Sanders Elementary has been there. I want to say there's been another school. There's been 3 schools on a night that I've been there. So there's multiple schools at a time there hosting an event. So it's not just one school. And on top, there's like a birthday party, and there's so many things going on. That's why they ask you the name of the school that you're there for. And now you can stand at the front door and give them a ticket that just says, say our school's name, and you'll get this discount, because random people are just still coming in to jump. They don't know that they can get this great deal, because on the normal, it's $17 for 2 hours, and they don't get free socks. So you're giving them $15 for 2 hours and free socks. So they're getting a better deal by saying your school's name. So if you stand at the door and say, hey, mention our school, you're getting your school's name mentioned and their money, and they're getting a discount. So you can even do that. So, I mean, I've got one scheduled every month for our school. I do it every year. And we usually make anywhere from $100 to $200 a month just doing that fundraiser. Now, Mr. Gaddy's has a fundraiser too. They do a lock-in. I think it's 2 hours. I've only done it once. I don't know much about it. But the Mr. Gaddy's up here on Dixie, I don't know about the other ones. But I know that's a fundraiser that you all can do that doesn't have to be like approved by JCPS. It's a standalone fundraiser as well. So do you guys have questions or anything you all want to talk about or share ideas? Now's the time for you guys to share ideas with each other.
Are the trampoline parks and whatnot open during COVID? Is that?
Yes, they are open. I've scheduled all of ours for Dixie's location. Now, Main Event does something, but I have not talked to Main Event. I don't really do a lot in the East End, but they also do some stuff in the East End.
Are we allowed to spend money at this time?
If you've gotten, have you already done your budget and approved it through your general membership? Once you guys have approved your budget within your board and then took it through your general membership and they've approved it, then you guys can start spending money. And if you need us to schedule a Zoom for you, we can do that. We will not speak. We will just be the person that has a little 15 district. We can even turn off our cameras and just let you all have the platform. We got Zoom for that reason. Some teachers will offer it to you guys, and some principals will offer it to you to hand out to your members, and some teachers and principals won't. So if you all need a Zoom platform to do it, let us know, and we will give you all the link and you guys share it out. So we would just schedule it, send you the link, and you all do all the work. But we just kind of sit in the background and say nothing unless you absolutely need something, and then you would just ask us. Do y'all have any other questions? Any suggestions for a general meeting? What are you meaning, Jennifer? Are you meaning like a date or yes, Amanda has done a few general meetings already, correct?
Yes.
She has scheduled a few and has hosted a few general meetings. I've got one scheduled for Stone Street already. And pretty much what we just do is, I said, we get you all pick the date. You all email us the date you want to use. If it's open, because we can only schedule one at a time. So if the date's open, we'll put it down. So as soon as you know what date you want to use, email us right away, because it's kind of like the first VP who gets it kind of thing. And then once we do it, we'll send you the link. You all send it out. And we just kind of sit back. If you all have questions, we'll do it. You all get to run in. You run the meeting. I think I'm actually doing one for Olmsted South on the 17th and Olmsted North as well. But their principal did theirs. Olmsted South, the principal did theirs. But it's really easy to do. You all just let us know when, and we can do whatever you all need us to do. But you have to give them a 30 days notice. That's the only difference. You have to give them 30 days.
So do you, the members, you have to give them 30 days?
You have to give your membership 30 days notice.
And so how do you vote on, I mean, do you use the Zoom tools on when it votes, or thumbs up or anything like that?
Yeah, so we record it. You have to record it. That's why we use the Zoom, because it has to be recorded for a protection. So we would record the meeting, and it would be just like we see here. Everybody would say yes or no, or they can do a thumbs up, and it's recorded. And that's how it would protect you guys in the long run. It protects you guys to say that you all hosted that general meeting. You did all your nays, you did your nays, your yays and nays, and it records it for you all. So that way someone can't come back and say, you didn't host your meeting, you didn't do it properly, you didn't ask for a vote. This protects you guys from that. That's why we went with
when you, and we have our own Zoom, so that's okay. But the other question then is, someone had asked about spending money. We can't spend anything until that gets approved, even though that's going to be 30 days from now and we're in the middle of NTI?
Correct.
Okay.
If you absolutely have to spend money and it's already been budgeted from July to August 31st, email budget@kentuckypta.org and send last year's budget in an email, and Jenna, Brittany, or Chris will reply back if you would be allowed to use funds.
Okay, thanks.
Kentucky PTA will then look at it and say, yes, your funds will be allowed. Looking at your funds, you'd be allowed to spend it, and based on what your budget looks like, they're the ones that review the budget and say yes. Brittany is the Kentucky State Treasurer, Jenna is the office staff, and Chris is president-elect at Kentucky PTA. So they will look at the budgets and they will say, if it looks like you have the funds or if it's allocated somewhere, they will then let you know if it's okay to spend the money before you get your general membership to approve it. So it's budget@kentuckypta.org. And that's who you would just send last year's budget and a letter or an email stating why you need to spend the funds. And they'll either let you know if it's approved or denied. I haven't really seen them deny it unless it's something that absolutely can wait. If it's something that can wait 30 days, they usually will wait. But if it's something that can't, they'll approve it. Do you guys have any other questions? Because this is our greatest opportunity to let everybody talk about any ideas. Do any of you all do you have any, oh, it went away. What did it say, Amanda?
Question is, do you have any ideas to do an online membership drive? Maybe an incentive for parents to join.
So what you guys can do is, I would, you know me, I like doing auctions, and I like doing giveaway and door prizes. So you all can do, do you have spiritware? So you can do join membership and get like a $2 discount on spiritware. You can, our school has a couple of prizes that we get throughout the year. So like we get, I reach out to like Walmart and a couple of the different stores around and smaller companies and get things donated. So I even reached out to like the Paradise Allens, where they do those like real babies, you know, those people that collect I don't know what they're called. They look like the real baby dolls. I don't know what they're called, but they look like real babies, and people collect them. So I even got one that was a breast cancer awareness doll. So I got some, Paradise Allens, they donated a breast cancer awareness doll. So I have that as a donation gift. So I use, when people, for like a month, everybody that donated, or everybody who bought a membership, I put in as almost like a raffle, but you can't use the word raffle. So it's a donation. Everybody who bought a membership got put in for a drawing to win a chance to win that doll. So it's kind of like getting different gifts donated to you. Or you can go out and purchase certain gifts. You can't buy gift cards, but you can go out and purchase like Bath and Body Works and make your own little gift basket. And then once the PTA is up and running and you get your funds approved, you can get reimbursed for it. But you can get little gift baskets and make gift baskets. And then everybody who joins for the month of October, they get put in for that drawing to win that gift basket. Does that make sense? You can do that. You can put together a spiritware basket with a bunch of your school's logo stuff in it and do the same thing. Ask Mark's Feed Store, Trampoline Park will donate buy one, get one free and free trampoline hours. Dairy Queen will give you free ice cream cones. Panera will give you free stuff. Trying to think of all the places.
Sometimes the bowling alleys will.
Yeah, the bowling alleys. Zaxby's will give you free stuff. You just kind of call around and definitely go on and just start Googling. I think we even got something from Walt Disney one time. Do Railroad Down Under, the Bat Museum, River Bats, all of the downtown attractions. If you just start plugging those in, and you go in and do fundraising, or contact us and go to, it's fundraising, and then it's also, there's another word that they use in there that I cannot think of right now. It's fundraising and something else. But if you go in there and you start looking around and you marketing, go under marketing, it'll tell you how to apply for donation tickets, and they'll send you free tickets in the mail, and they'll send you all of that, and then you can start using those as a way to get memberships all year long. River Bats do it, the Bat Museum, the Louisville Slugger Museum, Newport Aquarium does it, Cincinnati Zoo, Louisville Zoo, Newport Aquarium, Kentucky Kingdom, Kings Island, said Railroad Down Under, the Horse Museum does it, Churchill Downs does it. And that's all I can think of. But if you start just putting in donations for PTA, you'll get tons. Like if you just Google donations for PTA, all kinds of stuff will come up, and then you can just they'll start sending them to you. You just put them in. And then you can use those as marketing, but you can also make baskets and stuff like that. And then that's what I use as my way of saying, for the month of November, Christmas, I make a Christmas basket. Anybody who joins in December, they get a drawing to win that basket, stuff like that. That's how I've always done it. Those are neat ideas. But especially at the beginning of the year, the best way to get them is definitely on the spiritware. Do the $2 off or $3 off. They're buying a $5 membership and you're giving them $3 off of their spiritware. You're pretty much buying a $2 membership. I mean, it's kind of works itself out. It saves them money. And if you give them a way to save money, they usually buy. It's how you spin it on paper. Looks good on paper. That usually looks good to them. You guys got anything else?
Yeah, there was a question about yard sign contacts. Do you know anybody that does that?
Yes. You're gonna make me pull out my list of people. One that I have, gotta find her on Facebook. Facebook, if you all can join as many groups as you all possibly can. Line Drive Photography. I'll see if I can type it in here. And if anybody else knows any, feel free
We
to
use
type it in.
Heritage a lot.
Yeah, feel free to type any in if you guys know anybody. She made my daughters that's sitting outside of my front yard, and she did an amazing job. And she's got a Facebook page. You guys could always check hers out too. And she delivered them for me. She actually went and delivered them for Lane Elementary. I want to say she delivered them for Crosby. She's delivered them to a lot of people. I'll put the link in here.
Is this call going to be available after?
Yes, we are going to upload it to YouTube along with the PowerPoint that we have to make it available for everybody to go back and watch later. That way everybody will be able to use it for their meetings as well if they want to go back and share it at their local units as well.
Great, thank you. I also had a question. Just
Sure.
in Louisville, you know, the reporting came out in terms of where people were with membership, and there one school is exceeding above and beyond everybody else. I just didn't know if there are any best practices in addition to what you said that you're, suppose we can say the name of the school. I don't know, but it's anyway. I just didn't know if there are any other additional, like, so it seems like some schools just really crush it.
Well,
and then
I do know there is one school that definitely has, I know Manual strives and does extremely well. They have a system set up to where I think they have when they enroll, they have to, I know their Facebook page for sure. To just get on their Facebook page, you have to pay $5 just to even be accepted on their Facebook page. So that could be a marketing thing. I will say that it really depends on the area you live, because I know that in my area of town, I would not be able to get my followers on at my school to be able to pay $5 to just join my Facebook page to find out what's happening in my area. And that's just because I know a lot of my parents can't afford it. So I know I couldn't make that a stipulation on my parents. So I think it just really depends on the area you live. I know everybody has their own, I know Manual also uses a different system right now than Member Hub. That's because it's a system that they're currently paying for, that they can't switch over to Member Hub just quite yet. They have to wait until that contract runs out. So we can't really follow how they're doing their process at the time. But they have a system that's been working for them for a while. I don't know how they do it. I'm not their VP. I don't know if Amanda even knows how they really get their members to go. I don't know if anybody in here is from Manual. Are you from Manual, Shannon?
I'm not from Manual. I'm not
Okay.
from Manual. I'm from Lincoln, and right now we have over 225 members in Member Hub.
Mhm.
So we're the elementary school that is kind of getting memberships,
So
and we
how
are using Member Hub.
How are you
So
doing?
there's a couple things. Yeah, and I will say our students are from all over the city because, you know, I mean, it's performing arts. So we've got kids in every area. But some of the things that we did do when they had the drive-through orientation, I did a welcome letter from the president, and on the other side, we put the information about Member Hub, and we had our store set up for swag, right? All of our Lincoln swag is out in Member Hub in the store, and we talked to every single car that came in and said, do you have your Lincoln swag? If you want to buy any t-shirts or bumper stickers or magnets, you can do that. But at the same time, you can also purchase your membership for $5. We said, and we really, really want to have at least one adult member for every child. So even if you have one kid, you know, I mean, you can sponsor kids to, you know, we have people who pay $20 and buy memberships for kids whose parents may not join. We also have some teachers will buy a membership for their entire class. Some of them just, especially our kindergartners, and some teachers just feel that that's really important. So we do have some teachers do that. We have some parents actually say how many kids are in my class. We encourage people to do that sponsorship if they can, if they would like to. And then we also have weekly, right now we're doing weekly giveaways. So, you know, we had a large number of memberships at the beginning. And so now every week, as we continue to have members join, they're being put into a drawing for, you know, a backpack or any of our leftover swag that we've had over the years. And then the one thing that's been really great, we've partnered with the administration, so every day they have their morning meeting, right? And so one of the days they really focused on, you know, the PTA membership and, you know, encouraged parents who are listening in to go out and join. But they also did homework assignments every day the first week of school. So it could be mid-NTI. Okay, we're in the third week, here a parent. So it wasn't just kid homework assignments. Every day there was a homework assignment. So it could have been join the Lincoln Facebook page, check out, make sure to save parent portal and sign in. And one of the homework assignments was specifically go out to Member Hub and join PTA. And so that was a homework assignment, and we got a lot of parents that came in that way. So everything that we post on the Lincoln's website is also posted in Lincoln PTA's website or Facebook page, but we really just try to stay connected with the admin and just make sure that, you know, they call us and say, what can we do to help you? And we call them to say, what can we do to help you? And so it's kind of just a constant communication, and they're helping us get membership through their staff and teachers as well. So that's kind of all the stuff that we've been doing, and it really works well. So
The only thing I've ever found a hard time with is middle school. Middle school is the hardest thing to get members, especially parents, is getting parents to join at a middle school level. That has been the hardest area I have found getting parents to join. I think I have done so much. I think I've actually started my membership journey in July 1st with my old members, all the way up till still now trying to reach my parents. And our parents are hard to reach. And middle school is the time where I think we have a lot of disconnect with parents. Parents tend to want to back away and let our kids kind of explore. I know I never did not. My child hated me being in the school as a PTA parent because my principal allowed us to be there all the time. And I'm one of those moms where my daughter was like, "Mom, really, you have to be here every day?" And I'm like, "Yep, I sure am. I'm right here. I'm her mom right here." And now she's like, "You're really gonna do this to me in high school too?" And I'm like, "Yeah, probably I will." But it's hard. Parents disconnect at the middle school, but they tend to come back at high school because you have high school prom and junior prom and ring ceremony and all those fun things. Middle school is that disconnect, and we've got to figure a way to get the parents back. That has been my biggest. That is one of my biggest things that I'm working on, because I also do SIPL. I'm a SIPL fellow. I just currently graduated there. That is my biggest thing that I'm pushing for, is to figure out the biggest disconnect in the middle school. So I am open for ideas there, because getting parents in a middle school level is hard. And I see a lot of head nods in the middle school row there. It's hard. I never had a problem elementary, because it's like the cutest little faces and everybody wants to join. And then you get into middle school and it is really hard. I had so many people come up to a table and say, "Nope, I don't want to join you," and walk away from me and say, "I don't want to be a part of PTA. My kids in middle school now, they can take care of themselves," and walk away. The things I get when they're at you in your face and they see PTA now, they're like, "Nope, I did my 5 years. I'm done." It's amazing the difference from elementary to middle. But I want to change the narrative somehow, and I don't know what it's going to take to change it. So that's my little spill on middle school. We've got to figure out a way to change that narrative, and I don't know what it's going to take, but I will find a way. I will find a way. So I'm open up for ideas, but I don't know how we can. I don't know how to change it from. I've gave free stuff away. I've given so much away, and sometimes free stuff doesn't work either. I've been to cars. I've walked down. The other day we did our Stewart open house, and we actually had the police called because we were blocking Valley Station Road. And I mean, I stood out there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, begging every car to join, and they didn't want to. They didn't want to, and I don't know. We got to figure out a way. Got to figure out a way. Do you guys have any other questions that we could ask, or anything else that I need to ask state PTA, or any other questions that I may need to get answers for? Do you all have any other questions you all would like, or any other classes you all would like to see trainings for, upcoming trainings for? Because I can do as many trainings as you guys like. What school does your son attend?
In the chat, he goes to more.
Oh, wow. We need to look into that. So, Amanda, we need to write that down and look into that.
They're one of my schools. I don't have any contact information.
We will give you guys certificates for tonight's training, because I'm a certificate person. So everybody on tonight's training will get certificates.
Sure.
I love certificates. Everybody will get certificates because I'm a certificate person.
I love it.
Everybody gets certificates. Everybody. So as long as everybody has put their name in the chat and the school you attended, you will get a certificate. So if you haven't done that, make sure it's in there so I can make sure you get a certificate.
Does anyone know what school Rachel Miller was with? She's gone now, but she didn't put her school in the chat box.
We might be able to find out.
That's the only one I missed.
Maybe we can email her, or we can look it up in the member hub. So does anybody else have any other questions before we go? We'll let you guys go a little bit early. Is there anything that I didn't touch on that you guys really wanted to ask a question about? Karen, you've been around for a while. Is there anything that you may know that I have left out that's really important?
Well, I have done elementary, middle, and high school. And like you said, it's easy to get elementary, little tougher to get middle, impossible to get high school. And so my biggest thing is I'm at this point than I am, I think, anything else, and trying to get that membership up. I was kind of sad because I was membership this year. I mean, we smashed them, and then we got, like, there's no recognition, so it was kind of sad. So I'd like to see some kind of recognition, if we could, for what we did for last year, because it just kind of dropped, and everything was done.
You all should have,
We got nothing. We're such a small school. I went from Crosby to Carruthers, so it's like Crosby to Carruthers. So I kind of feel like sometimes we get kind of a little bit lost in the shuffle.
but they should have still sent out membership. 15 districts still should have sent out the membership
For the
awards, regardless of a banquet or
Now,
not.
I haven't been to the school since COVID, because we're not allowed in. So they may have sent it maybe in that time.
Unless Eddie's trying to find a way to host an event, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I was
But
so excited. Oh my gosh.
because you all should still receive any type of positive, like the turnkeys and all of that we get at every banquet that we do.
Yeah.
All of the awards, you all should still receive those regardless of what happens. You all would still get those at the beginning of this year. And I will double check. So Amanda, make a note of that and send that to me. Because you all should still get recognition on that regardless.
Because I was so excited. They went from nothing to
Yeah,
good.
you all should still get all of that credit because you all deserve all of that, and I want to make sure you all get it. I do the awards for I do reflections and awards for state PTA.
Well, I'll be
So,
talking to you later about reflections.
yes, holler at me for any state information you need on reflections or awards. I handle all that for state. I do the program side of the state, and
Sweet.
reflections for district this year because we don't have anybody right now. So if anybody wants a state reflections part at district, let me know. We have an opening, so I'm gonna plug that there. We have an opening on 15 district if anybody wants to do reflections. But we have an opening. We have an opening. But I love awards. That's why I said everybody gets certificates. I love awards. That's what I love to do.
That's probably why you know me.
Yeah.
Because I've gone for each school. We've just nailed it as good as we can.
Oh yeah. So I mean, that's why I said I'm used to seeing you. So I was like, I know you're a veteran. You are one of the veterans. So you all should not get skipped out on those awards, and I will make sure that it happens.
Because I worked hard.
Oh yes, I will not let you guys not get those awards. I will tell you all that. I don't know about how they do the outstanding volunteers and stuff like that.
I know, that was a bummer.
But I don't know how they're going to do that. I will check
get
into
that.
that. But the membership ones, you guys should definitely get credit for. So, because we work hard on those, not only at a district, but at a state level. So you all should get credit for those. I still think anybody who applied, because I know Lincoln applies for a lot of the awards, so does Manual. I still think they should be doing the awards for outstanding volunteer and all of those. I still think they should. I don't know if they are. If Sienna would have made it to the call, she would have been the best one to ask. But she was also on another call tonight, so she couldn't make it to this one. But I will find those questions out and I will email you guys and let you know. Because like I said, regardless, even if it's just the membership, I still think you all deserve the credit for those. Because, the budgets everybody's budgets were messed up due to COVID, and we may not have enough to afford, the plaques, but you all definitely deserve the certificates, no matter what.
I'm sure you have my email, but do you want me to go ahead and put it in there just in
Yes.
case?
Put it in the chat for me just in case. And like I said, I'm going to make sure and get all these questions answered because you all deserve them no matter what. I still think you all deserve the plaques, and that's something that's in the budget, so it should be still in the budget. And I want to look into that, which I might just pull out my budget and look at it when we get off this call and figure out, because it should still be there. So,
That would be
but don't hesitate, guys, to reach out to us. That's what we're for. We're supposed to be your go-to people before you all actually have to go to Eddie or Sienna. So if we can't find it or we can't answer it, then you guys might want to hit them up next. But usually we're pretty good at getting something answered. So if you all have any issues or concerns, or if there's a class you all want, or if you all need a Zoom scheduled, please reach out to us. That's what we're for. We'll take care of anything you all need. If you have problems getting to your VPs, me and Amanda will be great to help. We don't mind. We'll take on the extra people. Shoot, we don't care. We love everybody. I just threw her in there. I mean, I don't even know if she cares, but I just threw her there.
Good with it.
See? But if you all don't have any other questions, I won't keep you all anymore tonight. You all have a good night. And like I said, if there's anything you all need, just reach out, okay? All righty. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.